All right. Call our April 24th, 2024 Policy and Academics Committee meeting to order. Let's do roll call.
Sir, Dr. Diaz.
Here.
Ms. Fertitta.
Here.
Mr. Wright.
Here. All right. Section 2, Policy and Procedure. First recommended action is to consider a request to revise policies IFA, instructional materials, as presented by Ms. Jamie Marlborough. And I don't believe Ms. Jamie is attending today. We can get a motion if we like. To put it on the table.
Okay, well, I move that we put this on the table.
All right. Myron, you good? Well, Myron seconds. Any public discussion? Any board discussion? All right, then I get a chance to read my statement. So this will go for both policies. So dear fellow committee members, there are many mechanisms for community members to voice concerns to the board, schools, and central office on school board practices. Any community member with concerns should always reach out to the school administration first, as they are the first lines of contact. These people can respond more quickly than any other school board personnel or board member. Board members can and should respond to credible concerns while not undermining the leadership of this at the school. School board policy is adjusted when we have a credible directive to change, usually because of changes in state laws governing schools and school boards, via Forethought Consulting, as they have been providing school boards with assistance in managing policies and manuals since 1982, and they specialize in policy consulting. They are paid to provide the service for us, employ a lot of smart people, and have been our partner for policy revision for more than 20 years. Additionally, policies can be adjusted if a board member feels compelled to do so. If their constituents feel strongly about certain changes, board members can, while working with their community members, create reasonable, credible adjustments that address the larger majority, considering all individuals affected. Many recent requests for changes to our school board policies have more to do with procedures and practices than policy. These types of documents are modified at the school level, as each school will have varying needs, and a blanket change is not needed in every case. When a change is needed that is wider than the local school, changes are left up to the central office leadership to drive change, changes to student and/or employee handbooks or other procedural documents. Our committee will always be open to committee's concerns. However, I personally will not support policy rewriting via the public during my tenure on this committee. It is just simply not the public's responsibility to rewrite how we do business or function. Community members should work through their district school board members to forward credible changes to the policy committee that are properly vetted by our board attorney. We have a responsibility to always tread with caution with sweeping policy changes to appease a small minority of the community that seems to find issue with everything we do. The silent majority will appreciate us for not implementing more restrictive policies on students, teachers, and staff. I want to thank my fellow board members for your passion and your continued commitment to all your constituents. And just a side note, I believe there's a couple of bills in the legislature that are looking to address some concerns that were put forward in this policy and some previous policy revisions. So we look forward to seeing what's the outcome on those bills through the legislature. And I'm sure we'll get forethought and they will advise us on how best to revise those policies and also our board attorney. Are there any other school board member discussion? Ms. Ballard.
That's exactly what I was going to say. When we went to the Capitol for legislative day, I did see several bills that addressed this policy change, and that was my thoughts too. Let's see what happens, and then forethought can provide us with guidance. So good job with that.
Right. If there are no other comments or discussion, we can go ahead and vote. And we hear a pin drop in here. So why? They need to make it seem so serious. Yeah, we vote as it's written.
So I thought that Ms. Petita had made a motion to table the item, and it was seconded by Mr. Wright.
Oh, no, I didn't.
Did I misunderstand?
Yeah, I said, no, we're taking it up. You had a question of whether we were tabling it. I said, no, we were bringing it
She said to
forward.
put it on.
So we could have discussion. So we were putting it on the table so it could be discussed.
Okay, sorry, misunderstood.
Yes.
Gotcha?
Vote on the motion.
All right, so I apologize if that wasn't clear on my part.
I didn't know if I had misread this, but I was afraid to. I thought I was the only one confused.
Check with the chair.
So-
No, that's okay. Yeah, so I made the comment that we needed to put it on the table so we could have a discussion
Yes,
and create the opportunity
yes, sir,
for people to discuss.
understood.
All right, so we're voting basically how it's written to either approve or decline moving this forward. Yep. I'm happy to do that. As suspense with Bill. All right, so 3 nays, so this recommended action is fine. Going on to B, which to consider requests for policy revisions, IFAB supplementary material section and adoption as presented by Ms. Marlborough. Again, at this one, I think we did our discussion on the front side, but at the pleasure of the board members, would you like this one to be on the table as well? Okay, I'll move and I'll second that. So Ms. Fertitta and myself and Ms. Fertitta.
Yes, I know, I'm serving on the State Library Commission, committee, and they are following the legislation that's concerning public libraries, but also public school libraries, and public schools, and so, I've been getting updates on that every day, so we know that that's in the legislation.
Okay. And any public would like to comment? All right, since none, then we'll vote. Right, we got it right this time.
Yeah, we got it right.
This one also does not pass. Item C, to approve job descriptions for the position of Information Technology Supervisor, Public Information Officer, Dean of Students, and Assistant Principal. So moved. And Ms. Fertitta seconds. Any public comment? I'm sorry, let's go to Mr. Lee. Have the floor, please, sir.
Thank you. Superintendent Morton, Chairman Piot, we have these 4 items here for you. The first one is the Information Technology Supervisor. We are changing just the title from manager to supervisor. And so therefore in that job description, you'll see that it also is changed in any other areas in red. It is changed from manager to supervisor. As you know, we've been trying to fill this position, so this is a position that we would like to try to advertise out for a supervisor level. The next one that you will see is the Public Information Officer. That is a brand new position that will be created in the district here. It will replace another area that we have in the district currently, but it will be a new position titled Public Information Officer. And you'll see there the different requirements and the items that they will be involved in as well. And if you have any questions on any of these, please. The next one that we have is the Dean of Students position. The Dean of Students position is also a new titled position that we have in the district. This will be, again, individuals who work in our schools, who work with our administration, and continue to work with them in order to help with different aspects of the administrative role in the school. What this will do is it will actually replace what is kind of an antiquated title, administrative assistant. We have those titles in our schools currently, and so this will rename that administrative assistant position to a Dean of Students. And then the last one is the assistant principal / administrative assistant job description. We are going to no longer have the administrative assistant positions, but we are removing administrative assistant from that job description, so it will single-handedly stand alone as the assistant principal. Any questions on any of those?
Right, so we'll again go to the public, if there are any public comments. We had moved already. You and me? All right, any board discussion?
I just want to say that this is a long time coming. I'm glad that the Dean of Students position is being finally put out there. Something I've wanted for a long time. So I'm glad to see that.
Any other board? Ms. Tina?
I think it's a really good idea to do the Dean of Students, because I also think that we're working to grow leaders within our parish and get these people ready to go into administrative roles. So I think it's a good stepping stone for the in-between.
Yeah, please.
I do want to piggyback on what Ms. Babin said, and I do want to have in the record and make sure that everyone understands that today's administrative assistants, ironically, today is Administrative Assistants Day. These are not those administrative assistants. These are the leaders in our campuses. They are right now classified as teachers. Right? They are getting a teacher salary. They are part of the teacher count for a school. They are not technically on the administrative pay scale. They are, in fact, teachers. The Dean of Students will continue to be in that exact same capacity, and as designed today, we want this to be a 3-year stint for any given teacher who serves in this capacity of Dean of Students. And the purpose behind that is certainly not to punish folks and make them have to go and replace their job or wherever they may be, but it's to address what Ms. Babin talked about, which is we have too few people being developed to take on leadership roles as principals and assistant principals in the parish, and we're hoping that this is a tool in our tool bag to build that capacity. So I did want it to be transparent in our desire to make this a 3-year stint for the folks that fill this role, so that they can be prepared to be assistant principals, and at the end of 3 years, through no fault of their own, not because they have done anything wrong, they would go back to a classroom setting, that they would work directly with the superintendent's office to choose where and how that would be, so that we can train and develop more people to be prepared to be principals. We have 2 openings right now as principals, and I anticipate fewer than 6 applications for each of them. And that is a concern as we move forward. So that's the rationale behind part of the Dean of Students position that I wanted everyone to know about.
Okay, now, not all of our schools have administrative assistants.
You are correct, Ms. Fertitta, and the long-term plan for the district that will be presented at the budget hearing will be to transition the existing administrative assistants at many of our schools to that of assistant principal, right? The people who are currently administrative assistants at schools where it is just a principal and an administrative assistant, that administrative assistant position will transition to assistant principal. At a school where we have principal, assistant principal, and administrative assistant, the administrative assistant becomes a Dean of Students, and that's the ones that would stand. The only existing administrative assistants that will become deans of students, I believe that the number is 5 or 6 throughout the district. That we would have throughout the district, because the overwhelming majority of administrative assistants will become assistant principals.
And my other question is, if a school that has a large population doesn't have, or do they right now all have administrative assistants? Larger population schools, they all have an administrative assistant who will become a dean of schools. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
So Thibodeau Middle, as an example, right now has principal, 2 APs, and an administrative assistant.
Okay.
That administrative assistant position at Thibodeau Middle School becomes a dean of students.
What about a school like Thibodeau Elementary? Okay. Just questioning the larger schools that I know have needs.
We're not
Some
taking
that-
support, we're not taking people from any campus.
And that's included in your teacher count when the principals decide on their staffing, that becomes part of, I mean, that's already part of their teacher count.
The administrative assistant?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. They are, in fact, I think the phrase is actually more appropriate, a visiting teacher when serving as an administrative assistant today. Nothing changes in terms of that or their employment status. The title is the biggest thing for dean of students, because people were so confused. They thought they were talking in some cases to a clerical staff member. And in fact, they were talking to somebody who was preparing to be an assistant principal.
It's a wonderful idea. I think it's great that we are growing our own leaders, and this is just a wonderful idea. Also, all of these other positions.
Any other board discussion? Right, since none, we can vote. All right, and that motion carries for those 4 positions. Section 3, academics, supervisory staff updates. We'll start with elementary education, Ms. Hodson.
Alrighty. So this is busy time for us, for the schools too. We're finishing one year and starting another, so it's chaotic right now, but this is what drives us. So we have some of our updates. Our Nichols State Magnet Program, we had our parent meeting last night. Registration will open tomorrow and stay open until June 1st. We anticipate about 50 students being able to participate. We are currently, in fact, today I met with our site leaders for our summer literacy program. We'll have 7 sites with 3rd and 4th grade students the week of June 3rd through the 7th. Approximately 600 to 700 students will be eligible to attend. We have several professional development opportunities open to our teachers this summer. In the month of June, we have Writing Revolution, and how we incorporate that into our CKLA high quality curricular. And then we have our math writing assessment teams, which will take some time to reassess our work that we've done in the past, make any adjustments that might be needed to our assessments. And then in July, we'll have several opportunities for teachers to be exposed to the new social studies curriculum, Bayou Bridges. We are currently working on our agenda for our Instructional Leadership Summit, where all of our school leaders come together from July 5th through 17th. And this year, our focus for our summit will be on the 5-year strategic plan. So the initiatives that have come out of the plan, principals will get a large dose of that initiative and how, that part of that professional development. So it'll kind of be that starting point for us as we build for the next 5 years. So that's all my updates.
All right, next on.
Just a date clarification, you said July 5th.
July 15th through the 17th is
I was
going to
wondering if you were going to keep it more than.
be. Well, yeah, I mean, I have high expectations. July 15th through the 17th. Good catch.
All right, thank
I
you.
thought that.
All right, Ms. Aguilar.
So for federal, we have a super app update. The State Department has awarded LaFouche $142,000 in the Super App process for curriculum, assessments, and professional development for next school year. So that's some good news. Yeah, I know. And pre-K registration is ongoing at the Media Center. That continues through May 17th. Late registration is considered after that date, and that will take place at individual school sites.
Question, somebody said you can register for pre-K online this year?
Yeah.
Great.
Be so fancy.
Y'all really getting up in there.
We're trying to get all the babies.
Yes.
All right, thank you. And special education, Ms. Delta.
So first thing we have kind of going on right now out of my department is the transition meetings for special ed students in 11th, 12th grade as they're transitioning and preparing for being out of either their next level of schooling or job training. This was my first experience with that. I went to Thibodeau Highs and South Lafourche. I didn't get to make it to Central Lafourche, but it was a very neat experience where you have agencies coming in and offering support and help beyond the next steps, and then also to see the parents really thankful for that information. So that was a very good opportunity for the students, and I'm glad I got to see that. The next piece that we're working on is Act 266, which is going to require all kindergartners be screened for dyslexia in the second half of kindergarten. So this is just rolling out right now, and it's due in May. So this is coming from the State Department. I'm meeting with the principals tomorrow to explain what's going to happen. It kind of is still sticky and messy coming, the rollout from the State Department, but we're going to do everything on our part to make it as seamless as possible. I've been working with Ms. Katie McCarthy on getting on-course training for our SPLC chairs, which we're going to do that June 26th. And then our pupil appraisal staff is going to be July 22nd or 23rd to give them the new protocols that will help SPLC chairs, given all our 504 information, getting our plans updated, and the pupil appraisal, how to access the data and information for the students that they service. So. Then we have Act 456, which is our cameras in the special education classroom. We have one school that is equipped right now. That was at the parent request. We're currently working on 2 additional sites. And then next year, we're going to fully implement, make a plan to roll them out into the other classrooms as based on the Act 456. So save the date. We have a bunch of things occurring at this time of the year. The first one is going to be Tag Music Vocal at Central Lafourche. And that's at 6:30 on Friday, I think that is. And then Monday, we have Bayou Idol. I'm going to be sending an invitation to all board members, so if you can make it to see our students. That's going to be, this is the flyer on the next page, and it's going to talk about come out and support our CPT classes. The top 3 students from each high school compete against each other. They take it very seriously. This is, like, I've heard, the best day ever. And so if you are available at 9:15, I'm going to ask that you please come by Central Lafourche at that point. Also, you'll be getting an email from me and an invitation for our Tag Art Show, which is going to be on display at Pupil Appraisal. We have the one night from 4:30 to 6:30, but we do keep it up for a week in Pupil Appraisal. So if you can't make it that night, you can come around, and it's going to be very amazing. It's going to be elementary up to high school, showing their artwork that they've worked on in this tag program throughout the school year. Then we're going to have some more, we're going to have another tag vocal at Thibodeau High. Then we're going to move into our middle school instrument and vocals at Central Lafourche, following up with a music concert at the CMC, which is, I think, going to be our central area kids and maybe some South Lafourche area kids. They really kind of do it by the teacher, like which teacher has them, and that's how the programs are, and that's why we have so many that are laid out. So that's what we have going on. We're doing awesome things, and we look forward to seeing your faces at any of these events.
And the child welfare and attendance, Mr. Cook.
Yes.
Or Mr. Barry? You vote
Yeah,
no.
no.
So as it pertains to discipline and attendance, I think we sent information to the board members earlier. The North site is our busiest site, with a number of kids who are in person and virtual, followed by the central site and the south site. We have a total of 50 students that are in person, students who have been expelled and are working in person at the alternate sites, and 84 who are working virtual. We are in the process of beginning to plan to potentially move the central location due to capacity issues on that campus next year. So that's pending right now. As far as attendance, today we conducted our last district attorney's truancy enforcement meeting, or what we call truancy court. We had 20 families that attended, and we are done with truancy until next year. That's it.
Thank you so much. And with no other business, we can adjourn.